this wasn't just an assassination. It was one of the most complex intelligence operations of the 21st century, planned for 8 months, executed in under 3 minutes, and carried out without a single human agent on the ground. A 1-ton, AI-controlled machine gun, a satellite link from over 1,000 kilometers away, a convoy route predicted with military precision, and a target the Israeli government had publicly marked years before.
This is how Dr. Mohsen Fakhrizadeh, head of Project Ahmad, put it. Remember that name, Fakhrizadeh.
The man they called the Iranian Oppenheimer, the father of Iran's nuclear program. But the real question is not how they killed him. The question is, why did Mossad commit to one of the most expensive and risky covert missions in its history just to remove one man? And why was the operation canceled once, only to be revived years later with new technology that changed everything? To answer that, you need to understand who Mohsen Fakhrizadeh really was. For decades he lived in the shadows. His name was rarely spoken in public. There were only a handful of photos of him. Even many Iranian officials had never met him in person. Inside Iran, he was a nuclear physicist and brigadier general. Outside Iran, he was the single individual Western and Israeli intelligence believed held the blueprint for a future nuclear warhead. He wasn't seen as a scientist working on theory. He was viewed as the architect, the organizer, the man capable of turning calculations into weapons. Western intelligence agencies didn't fear Iran's nuclear facilities as much as they feared the mind behind them. By the early 2000s, the CIA and Mossad had already placed him on their highest priority list. Satellite monitoring, intercepted communications, academic papers, procurement patterns, everything pointed to his central role. Then in 2018, Israel seized a massive archive from a warehouse in Tehran. Thousands of pages of documents, plans, designs, presentations, signatures, and written repeatedly across critical project files, one name, Mohsen Fakhrizadeh. That sealed his fate. But Mossad had a problem. Fakhrizadeh was protected heavily. His routes changed without warning. Decoy convoys were used. Roads were swept. Surveillance cars followed him. And his movements were so unpredictable that Mossad's first operation to kill him, years earlier, was canceled in the final hours. Why? Because that earlier plan required human operatives inside Iran. The risk was enormous. Intelligence showed an unexpected security shift. Additional vehicles appeared. His convoy patterns changed. Iranian counterintelligence teams were present along the projected route. One mistake could expose agents and trigger diplomatic disaster. Mossad leadership decided to abort. They withdrew, leaving years of planning behind, waiting, watching, learning. Over the next decade, technology changed. Remote weapons systems improved. AI-driven stabilization became possible. Facial recognition algorithms became fast enough to operate in real time. Satellite bandwidth improved dramatically. Mossad realized something. They no longer needed a human assassin. They needed a machine that could act like one, with precision no human could match. The weapon they ultimately built was unique. Not a drone, not a robot dog, not a stationary turret. It was a modular, remotely operated killing machine weighing nearly 1 ton. It had to be smuggled into Iran piece by piece. Doing it in one shipment would have triggered suspicion. But doing it slowly, through various ports and borders, disguised as industrial equipment or scrap metal, that was possible. Parts entered through maritime routes. Other components came by land through neighboring countries. Some pieces were stored for months. Others were disguised as agricultural machinery parts. Local smugglers transported containers without knowing what they carried. Even at Iranian checkpoints, the shipments looked ordinary. Nothing pointed to a weapon powerful enough to change the course of Middle Eastern geopolitics. Inside Iran, Mossad used a rented warehouse and trusted local operatives, people who weren't told the full nature of the project. They assembled the machine carefully. Some parts required specialists, flown into regional countries for remote instruction. The final unit contained an FN MAG machine gun mounted on a robotic frame, stabilized by advanced gyroscopes and governed by an AI-assisted targeting system capable of compensating for the recoil and movement of both weapon and vehicle. The entire device was installed inside an ordinary Nissan pickup truck parked beside a quiet road near Absard. But a weapon alone wasn't enough. Mossad needed to predict Fakhrizadeh's exact path. For years they had monitored his routines, trips to his villa, visits to relatives, scientific meetings, even the small moments when he stopped for groceries, how his drivers reacted to unexpected obstacles, how his security detail behaved at intersections. In the final months before the attack, Mossad introduced new tests. Cars accidentally stalled on a road he was expected to take. Construction barriers appeared briefly on alternate paths. Minor traffic incidents blocked certain intersections. Each event helped refine predictive models. The AI system learned how his convoy reacted, which road he preferred when forced to choose, where his driver slowed, where he accelerated. By the time the operation date approached, Mossad could estimate his actions with high confidence. Then came November 27, 2020. Fakhrizadeh left with his wife in their black Nissan. 3 security vehicles followed. He was heading to his weekend home. The road was quiet. A speed bump ahead forced the convoy to slow. Mossad's system activated. A satellite link connected the operator, sitting in another country, to the gun inside the parked truck. Cameras locked onto Fakhrizadeh's face through the windshield using AI recognition. Wind direction was measured. Vehicle movement analyzed. Recoil predictions updated. Then the gun fired. 12 shots, each calculated, each adjusted by machines quicker than human reflexes. Not a single guard was shot. His wife, sitting just 25 centimeters away, was untouched. The AI compensated for vehicle vibration, glass refraction, and speed in milliseconds. It was a surgical hit. Iranian reports initially described a firefight between operatives and bodyguards, but later investigations revealed the truth. There had been no operatives, no team, no getaway cars. The truck exploded seconds later, triggered by remote command. The blast destroyed much of the machinery but left enough fragments for Iran to understand what had really happened. The aftermath was immediate. Iran was shocked. Anger erupted. State media mourned the loss. Iranian intelligence launched a nationwide hunt for collaborators, interrogated suspects, and reviewed every security protocol. But the damage was not only emotional. Fakhrizadeh had been a central figure in multiple strategic projects. His absence created gaps. Leadership scrambled to reorganize programs. Politicians passed emergency legislation, accelerating enrichment activity. International negotiations were shaken. Why was he targeted with so much effort? The answer lies in intelligence assessments. Multiple Western agencies believed that, even if Iran's facilities were destroyed, new ones could be built. But the knowledge inside Fakhrizadeh's mind, the understanding of warhead design, the coordination skills, the networks he controlled, those could not be replaced quickly. Israel calculated that removing him would delay Iran's capabilities more than destroying any laboratory. This was why Mossad committed to the operation, not because he was symbolic, because he was strategic.